Where you going with this? Who you controlling with this? You think you got some nerve? Boy, say word. Cause I'm flowing with this. I think I'm growing with this. I think you knowing with this. I'm gonna show 'em with this. Hey, you guys, it's your girl Taisha P. Back at you again with another podcast episode of Trust the Transformation Station. And here at Trust the Transformation, we believe that every day is an opportunity for evolution. This is a place for creatives who are becoming to feel seen every step of the way along their journey. And I'm so happy you decided to join me today as we walk this path together. So, recently, I don't even know where to start. I had a situation that had already occurred in my life come up again, essentially, in a different form. And the form essentially was an unresolved conflict just resurging again, but resurging from a place of me thinking, oh, maybe something can actually be accomplished this go round. Because one thing about me, when conflict occurs, I have two responses usually. One response is I get upset and I just want to go to war essentially in the moment. Not metaphysically, metaphorically. But in the literal sense, I'm just processing and essentially trying to defend myself given whatever the circumstance is. And then the second is I like to retreat. I've learned that sometimes winning the battle is less important for me when it comes to the overall war. And sometimes the war isn't a physical war, it's a war in the spiritual realm. And what you're dealing with is literally a test of, are you going to let whatever these circumstances are surrounding the situation get to you mentally? And I pride myself on being someone that, despite when things that are undesirable take place, I don't want to be a person that succumbs to whatever the thing is, because that's the easier option. It's easy when somebody steps on your toe to yell at them and get upset. It takes a level of self-control to be upset and to still have peace and to still demonstrate peace and to still demonstrate flow and to demonstrate patience with the other party and especially with yourself. And I've been trying to exercise that muscle a lot more, because allowing people to see that they can get under my skin or that what they can do to trigger me doesn't make me feel like I have self-control. It makes me feel like at any given moment, somebody could press the button by saying something, by doing something, by withholding something, any type of action that they can take to, in whatever way, get to me, showing that I'm frustrated by it or I can be frustrated by it. At this point to me, it doesn't make sense and it doesn't work. And like I was saying, recently a situation had come up that, in my opinion, was a test. I had dealt with this situation at least some time ago where a quarter of the year had passed. And for me, being that it had been such a long distance in between the time, obviously I didn't forget what took place. Obviously, I didn't completely get over it in the sense of it didn't bother me if I had retreated from attempting to fix said situation. But I had mentally moved on past it in the sense of real life was still taking place around me. I've had a lot of different things over the time where that conflict wasn't a readily available thing to get in my feelings about, because it's like I have this to think about, I have that to think about. And it was almost as if when the conflict was resurged, what the circumstances around it that I was dealing with in attempts to now say, okay, this is something I have to deal with. How am I going to address it? It was almost as if the individual that the conflict had taken place with was still living in the moment of said thing happening. And at first, I didn't think about it any type of way. But then I had a moment where literally it was like God had spoke to me. This was the next day as I was showering. And I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but showering for some reason is like where I get my best thoughts. It's like something in the water just literally downloads these thoughts and these feelings and these ideas into your mind. But I had been thinking in the shower about just how much I have shifted timelines. And this is a concept in the spiritual community, but how I explained it to myself, like to mentally make sense of the moment, and I'm going to share this explanation with you guys here. I knew I shifted timelines when I wasn't thinking about the situation at hand anymore. And I literally was living in the present moment. And when the conflict resurged, it almost was like asking me to go back to a space where I hadn't been in a while, in the sense of to deal with it in that way. Yes, I have emotions, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I wasn't bothered ever, or that if somebody were to ask me a question about a thing and it revived some of the feelings from that moment of where I had to basically take myself back to who I was months ago and think about what those feelings were and what they meant to me and how it impacted me. I definitely felt something. I'm not gonna sit here and act like, I have no emotions and no feelings. But I also realized, I was like, I'm not even as mad as I thought I was. I'm not even as bothered as I thought I was. And not simply because I'm forcing myself to get over it, but real life, like I said, has been going on around me where I'm seeing things and experiencing things that is showing me the importance of living in the moment, that is showing me the importance of valuing time, that is showing me the importance of loving on those around you that genuinely mean the best for you and are gonna do what they gotta do to show up for you, each and every way that they can from an authentic and genuine place. And when I sit here and I think about that from that aspect and that angle, I'm just like, this situation now that is resurging is forcing me to go to a place where I have to think about something that hasn't been relevant, hasn't been something to be sitting here pondering on these levels where I'm about to get upset and get heightened and take myself out of my core element. And there's been a lot of little situations that is trying to attempt to do that. And I think partially, if I could be quite real with you, my Trusted Transformation fam, I think people want to test if what I talk about on here is legit. I think people want to say, oh, that girl ain't really on that. She ain't really about that evolve in life. Not even that they're consciously thinking that, but something within them. It's almost like, I wanna see and have you prove to me that if you say who you say you are, you really about that life. And if not, I'm gonna show you that this shit is just a facade. Oh, excuse my French. See, I got a little too excited. I got a little too amped because I think that's what people think, and I didn't mean for that to just fly off my tongue like that, but I think that's what people think. Like, I think people that want to test me in these different ways feel as if I am not who I say I am when it comes to this platform. Whether it be my YouTube, my Instagram, my website itself, I think people genuinely don't believe that I'm about this transformational life and this transformational work. And I'm absolutely about it. Because I don't have any real reason not to be about it. God has really exposed me to myself in a way where I'm not afraid to look at my shortcomings and say, what can I do now to elevate? What can I do now to shift my reality? It's not enough anymore to blame mama, daddy, uncle, cousin, sister, brother, and just consistently point the finger. Yet you're the one standing still. You're the one still living in yesteryear, trying to figure out why stuff ain't going the way it's supposed to be going. And it's like, because you're not doing the work. And you're still trying to blame everybody else for everything. And you're still trying to find where such and such is at fault and where such and such is wrong. I'm not doing these things. I've had too many moments where God had to literally get me all the way together. All the way together. And it wasn't like there was a literal moment where I could point to where the get together happened. I'm not going to sit here and act like that. But there were definitely moments where I definitely had to be humbled. And I definitely had to be sat down to think about who I was choosing to become. There's so many moments and points in time where I had to realize, wait. Taisha, wait a minute. Let's rewind that scenario back and let's start from this point to that point. What was mentally going on here? What were you thinking about and doing and focused on that this is why you took this action? How were you feeling about yourself in your life? What made you respond like that? What made you think that response was appropriate? What did you do in this situation that detracted from resolution, that detracted from positivity, that distracted from moving forward in a way and staying stuck in place? I have no desire at any point to be sitting here dealing with people and all I'm doing is trying to be right. I've lost the desire of trying to be right. As much as I've been a person that really is like a low-key debater, I've lost the desire. Because you could get stuck in trying to be right so bad that, okay, you're right. Now what? You saying you're right, did it help you grow? Did it help you do something better, think of something better, become something better? Did it help you learn more about yourself? Or did it just validate something within you to keep moving the same way you've been moving that hasn't been helping you anyway? I, at this point, would rather be wrong as two left shoes than to be sitting here trying to prove to somebody how right I am when that doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of things and it isn't helping me progress as a person. Because that is how much progression and growth means to me at this point in my life. People just want to be right to the point where they rather have their ego and their pride stand in front of them and be this shield, as opposed to being genuinely honest with themselves and with the situation and saying, hey, regardless of who's right, wrong, or indifferent, this isn't that serious. And the more I lean into the this isn't that serious, I realize on a certain timeline, and when I say timeline, at a certain moment in time, that is what mattered to me, being right. Saying that I was the one that was done wrong and this is why you need to feel it. In some regards, whether I said that out of my mouth or I just showed it through my actions. But now at this point, it's more of like, I'm focusing on what's in front of me that's honestly actually important. And not these things that are trivial in nature and just gonna stroke my ego and just to make me feel better about myself. Like that doesn't matter to me. And I just realized, like, some people, you would think months, years, weeks, however long something will go past a certain timeline in the situation happening. Not even that you're over it, because I'm not saying to get over it, but it's more so stop talking about it as if it's going on currently, as if it's taking place in that present moment. And it was through that situation I realized it was such a wild experience for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I realized I need to stop doing that myself, but witnessing it from somebody else where you're trying to actively move forward and create resolve in a situation And it's almost like a person is jogging in place mentally. You realize, wait, I moved on from that intense of a feeling months ago. The fact that you're still there, I have to acknowledge it isn't about me. It couldn't be about me because I don't even feel this way. And I'm not about to live in yesteryear. I'm not about to live in what happened forever and a day ago. Even if I do have feelings about it, I'm not going to talk as if this happened last week and I'm still holding on to some thing about you or about the situation that's going to make me get out of character. I'm just not there. And I've learned at this point, you have to recognize when it's time for you to face adversity head on, but in a way that says, I'll defend myself if I have to. I'll deal with this situation if I have to. But I'm not going to sit here and mentally stay on a loop. I'm not going to sit here and be the hamster wheel consistently running on this one thing because it's just not needed. And it's not conducive to actually growing. I just have no desire. I have no energy to give that's like that. Some people, they don't even realize how much they're still living in situations that happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Living in unresolved emotions, living in unresolved traumas, living in unresolved disappointments. And you just constantly are thinking to yourself, okay, I'm here. Okay, I'm here. Okay, I'm here. But it's more of like, do you want to move on? Do you want to get past this? Because I want to get past this. And getting past this doesn't look like, all right, let's jump right in. Let's hop right in back to where we was. But it's more so like, I've evolved past this. And if I have to physically show that, if I have to physically stand on that, I can show that. There's no problem there. If I have to physically move around and shift things just so that can be seen, that could be done. Because I have no desire to keep staying in place and jogging in place around the same type of stuff. It gets boring, it gets old. It just gets to a point. It gets to a point where you're kind of like, what really matters to me right now? And what really matters to me right now is that I pour into my brand like I'm doing right here. What matters to me is pouring into the relationships that lift me up, that make me feel good, that allow me to continue shifting into a better individual, to allow myself to recognize who I am ultimately meant to be and meant to grow into as a person. And obviously my relationship with God, top tier, most importance, to continue growing and flowing with life, and to not let the trivial things get in between my destiny, to get me knocked off my pivot, to get under my skin. Because a lot of people, they want to get under your skin when they start to see you doing certain things, being in certain spaces. There are people that it's almost like, why are you so happy? Why do you feel so good? Why? And they're not gonna say that out loud. It's just more of, I want to test if you are who you say you are. And I am. I'm an imperfectly perfect human being that is at love and at peace with who I am, and that has continued to shift and to grow and to transform despite my circumstances. And I will continue to do so because I am in a space and place where God got my follow-up, and God keeps saying, keep taking messy action, keep moving forward, keep growing, and you'll end up exactly where I desire for you to be. And anything that is in support of that, because it's trying to get you off your pivot, get you off your throne, get you to be somebody you're not, get you to be nasty and hateful and all things. No. We're not about to do that. We're not about to live there. We're not about to be in that space. Because I know that God has his hand on my life, and I will not allow myself to get into a position where I forget that and I start trying to control situations and scenarios to prove a point, where I genuinely believe that God should be fighting my battles. And every time I allow God to fight my battles, I don't even need to pick up a finger to prove a point. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. And that says to me more than anything, you don't ever need to fight. You just need to stay in alignment. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I will continue to do. So to any of my people out here that have been tested in ways where people are literally trying to take you off your destiny, your path, because they want you to go down a path that we already passed that months ago, years ago, weeks ago, however long ago, from when you've declared to be in a new space and you're taking action that confirms that. Don't allow yourself to travel down these spaces with people. Let them go down memory road themselves and deal with whatever that is that they gotta deal with, because it has nothing to do with you. Your life is moving on, and that's okay. Sometimes you gotta move on and grow and evolve and transform and be exactly who you say you are. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Don't ever let anybody get it twisted because you decided to really be at peace with your life, that their behavior is going to get you to revolve around them or go back to a place to who you have graduated from. If you want to get left back, you get left back by yourself. Okay? Okay. So anyway, this your girl Taisha P. Signing out. Later, y'all.